So thread is nothing but a helical groove which is cut over the surface of the shank. So you can do this thread cutting by using a lathe machine. So in lathe machine, the workpiece or the shank portion is held in the chuck, and then this is the cutter. Here the workpiece rotates and the cutter is moved like this. So when it is placed at a particular position, then it will form a slot around the circumference only, circular slot. But when it is moving along the surface, it forms the slot in the helical form like this. So thread is nothing but a helical groove which is made on the shank portion of the bolt. Well, there are two types of threads. The first one is right hand thread. And left hand thread. Right hand thread and left hand thread. So right hand thread means if you see from the front, the thread will be like this. So they gradually slanting towards the right like this. So this is a single groove, helical groove. But if you see it in the front view, it appears to be slanting downwards towards the right. So such threads are called as right hand threads. So these right hand threads, especially when you are joining with the help of a nut, as you tight the nut clockwise, it will move into the bolt. As you rotate the nut in anti-clockwise, it will move out of the nut. So it has to be rotated in clockwise direction for engagement. So it has to be rotated in clockwise direction for engagement. For engagement means advancing into the nut, moving into the nut. So that is nothing but tightening, for example. Now coming on to the left hand threads. So these left hand threads are formed in such a way that if you see it in the front view, it will be like this. The thread is formed like this. So they appears to be slanting leftwards. Do you get my point? So they appears to be slanting towards right. See, this is right, this is left. So they are slanting towards right. So they are getting down towards the right. But here they are slanting towards the left. And here, if you want to engage the nut, if you want to engage the joint, then you have to rotate this left hand thread in anti-clockwise direction. Anti-clockwise direction for engagement. And if you want to disengage, that means if you want to remove the nut out of the bolt out of the nut, then you have to move it in the clockwise. So this is for disengagement. So this is clockwise for engagement and anti-clockwise for disengagement. Did you understand? So I have taken this nut and this is the bolt. If it is a right hand thread, then if I want to tighten it, I have to rotate in clockwise direction so that it will move inside like this. And if you want to remove it, I have to rotate in anti-clockwise direction so it will come out of the nut. So that is clockwise. In case of anti-clockwise, if you want to tighten it, then I have to rotate in anti-clockwise direction, then it will move into the nut. And if you want to remove it, if you want to disengage it, I have to rotate in clockwise direction. So that is the basic difference between the clockwise and anti-clockwise nuts. Why? What is the reason for maintaining two types of nuts, clockwise and anti-clockwise? In some applications, for example, if you take gas welding equipment, there are two cylinders, oxygen cylinder and acetylene cylinder. See, for example, this is oxygen cylinder and this is acetylene cylinder, and both consist of valves. So these valves are used to open and close the cylinder. See, if this valve, one of the valve, for example, if you take acetylene valve, the acetylene valve has to be fixed to the acetylene cylinder only. Similarly, oxygen valve has to be fixed to the oxygen cylinder only. You cannot swap these two. So, by accident, you may swap it anytime. So, in order to avoid that, one of the valve is provided with left hand thread and another valve is provided with right hand thread. So, what happens in that case? If you use correct valve only, then only you can tighten it. So, for example, this valve is right hand threaded. So, you have to rotate in clockwise direction only. Then it will be tightened. So, accidentally, unexpectedly, if you move this, if you use this for this valve, then if you rotate it clockwise, it will not tight. Because the clockwise direction is for disengagement for this. Okay. So, if you have to engage it, you have to rotate in anti-clockwise. So, in such cases, you have to provide this variation of threads. So, that is right hand thread and left hand thread.